Time Warner Cable is pleased to be an underwriting sponsor for Carolina Week.
Coming up, people living in this Chapel Hill neighborhood are scared, very scared, all because of a peeping Tom. We have the story.
And what does cutting the grass have to do with cutting budgets? We'll tell you.
In sports, the women's soccer team makes history by losing, while questions remain about who will be UNC's head football coach next season.
Also, where the boys are or where they will be soon is causing a ruckus at one Raleigh school. I'm Kathleen Whitty.
Hi everyone, I'm Preston Jones. And Carolina Week starts right now.
From the James F. Goodman Studio in the School of Journalism and Mass Communication at the University of North Carolina at Chapel Hill, connecting campus and community, this is Carolina Week.
It's been going on since the summer, and residents in the Glen Lennox section of town are fed up. It's a peeping Tom of all things. Turns out there have been other reports in other places of more peeping, too.
Lennox is a quiet, family-friendly neighborhood. At least Marty Reed thought so, until recently.
It's a little concerning. We don't like having people looking in our windows who aren't supposed to be.
And who would? Certainly not the victims of recent Peeping Tom incidents, in which an unidentified male has been spotted peeking in windows, intruding on the privacy of Chapel Hill homes. Other Peeping Toms have been reported in Ridgefield, Briarcliff, and even right next to the UNC campus on Hillsborough Street. Police suspect that different culprits are hitting the different areas. I'm here on Hillsborough Street, and in fact, I contacted several of the female victims of the Hillsborough Street incident, but not a single one was willing to tell her story on camera. That's how scared they are. Scared this culprit will see their faces, hear their names, and become even more interested in looking through their windows. Lieutenant Kevin Gunter of the Chapel Hill Police Department says they've seen cases like this before, but this one is a little different.
It started out where the individual was just peeping through a window, then it became apparent that they were actually trying to get the attention of the person inside. And that is uncommon for a peeping Tom.
The culprit's scratching and knocking is one of the reasons the police decided to send out notices to residents of Glen Lennox. Gunter says the police are investigating the incidents and patrolling the areas, but they need our help too.
If you feel uneasy about something just doesn't seem right, call.
Marty Reed hopes police action clears up the problem soon.
I guess it's just normal type of crime that's that's normal for this kind of area, but still it puts you on edge.
Police say there have been 6 or 7 reports of peeping in Glen Lennox alone.
A recent robbery has Chapel Hill police reminding people to take caution when using ATMs at night. Police are saying 3 men robbed a UNC student at this ATM. They say the men assaulted the victim, took his wallet, then ran. Anyone with information is urged to call Crime Stoppers, and you can find their information on our website at carolinaweek.org.
Well, we finally know the University of North Carolina system has lost some 3,000 jobs due to the budget acts this year. Members of the Board of Governors have just gotten their first look at the damage. Not including attrition, the university system laid off around 500 full-time employees and another 2,500 part-time workers. This to meet a more than 15% budget cut from the state legislature, totaling more than $400 million. What does that mean to the system, the Chapel Hill campus in particular? Well, on the Wednesday night edition of Carolina Week, we'll take a closer look at how all those cuts are affecting the Chapel Hill campus. That's Wednesday at 5 on Carolina Week.
Some money's tight, we all know that. And we've been searching for answers to just how the budget crunch may impact the university and the students. One area you may not have considered is the school's beautiful grounds. How much does it cost to keep it looking idyllic? Amy Whitaker tells us it's $2 million a year, but that's changing too.
Polk Place, the Old Well, McCorkle Place, all iconic spots at UNC, but they don't stay beautiful on their own. Meet James Aiken. He's a ground services worker at UNC. He's one of about 75 people who work to keep campus clean and cut. But after the university cut $160,000 from the budget, Aiken sees his job getting tougher.
They're gonna make it harder on us. They're gonna make it real hard.
Aiken covers everything from South Building to the ROTC building, all the way to the student union. He had a crew made of 7, but after budget cuts, he's down to 5.
It's going to have to kind of spread out a little bit farther and get more work done per day.
Aiken says his bosses want his crew to cut back on things like pruning, mowing, and emptying trash to save time and money, but he's not sure how long they can keep that up.
But we empty the trash 6 o'clock in the morning. By 1 o'clock, all the cans are full again.
Facility Services Communication Director, Brandon Thomas, says most of the cut positions were vacant anyway. He says although ground services is scaling back on materials and labor, the crews continue to make campus look great.
Again, this is one of the biggest selling points, is the beauty of the campus.
He says spending nearly $2 million per year is worth it to have workers like Aiken keep campus beautiful. In Chapel Hill, I'm Amy Whitaker, Carolina Week.
Now, it's not just the state schools in North Carolina that are hurting. Private schools have their challenges as well. The economy is hitting some of them very hard, and for Peace College in Raleigh, that means something they've never done before, accepting men. Reporter Beth Lawrence visited the school and tells us all about that story.
The first day of classes at Peace this year brought more excitement than usual. It brought a new name, William Peace University, and protests. These folks are mad about Peace's plan to accept men in the fall of 2012.
The administration feels very threatened with our presence.
Students and alumni held signs asking drivers to honk for peace. They were forced to remain off the school's property. Senior Erica Cleese says she's most upset about the way the changes were made.
We have not had a voice throughout this entire process. We have not been consulted at all with any of the changes that have gone on.
And it's not just students who are upset. E.B. Watson said that alumni feel unwelcome at the school and the feeling of home is gone with the name.
I will not make any contribution to William Peace University at all.
School officials would not comment on camera. Enrollment in women's colleges has been decreasing for years, and so has the number of women's colleges. Peace became a 4-year school in 1996 to fight enrollment erosion. This may have helped some, but Peace is not growing. But alumna Lorna Butler Daly says she is going to fight the changes anyway.
I'm optimistic that we are going to put the right people back in the positions that love this college and the legacy and the traditions.
After 154 years as an all-women's school, these protesters consider this the end of an era. In Raleigh, I'm Beth Lawrence, Carolina Week.
And part of paying for all these budget cuts is to increase tuition and fees. Now, UNC students may be getting some help with these seemingly ever-increasing fees. We've been told that the Student Fee Advisory Subcommittee is cracking down on the fee increase process now, considering each request on a case-by-case basis. Revising this process is supposed to tighten the standards for making decisions on fees. The subcommittee will hold 6 meetings this year and review approximately 16 fees. We'll be keeping an eye on all of this. Now, changes in the Greek system are underway. There may be more talk about the spring rather than the fall. We have the story.
And you'll meet one man who's shaking things up as the CEO of the Chapel Hill Carberg Chamber of Commerce. We'll show you how, coming up on Carolina Week.
You ever think about buying a bigger place?
Just waiting for a visit from the credit fairy.
There is no credit fairy.
How else will I get a better credit score?
Look, you keep your credit card balances low and only open a new card if you really need it.
No fairy?
There's no magic to improving your credit, but there's help, and it's free. Go to creditfairy.org.
First-year students have a lot to think about. New school, new life, no parents.
And there's a lot of pressure, maybe too much, especially when it comes to pledging a sorority or a fraternity. That's what members of the University Board of Trustees thought anyway. Reporter Caitlin Yannick reports that may mean spring forward for some students.
Danielle Balderas is a sophomore from California. Last year, eager to acclimate to her new coast, campus, and community, she decided to go through sorority rush just days after arriving at Carolina.
The fact that it was like such a narrow window of opportunity, kind of like now or never. So I put that pressure on myself to kind of jump into it, even though I was uncertain about how I felt.
This uncertainty is one concern UNC's Board of Trustees has with the university's Greek system. This concern has resulted in changes this semester. Sororities are now required to offer a spring alternative to fall recruitment. The board wants to give students enough time to make an informed decision without all the pressure. Balderas can relate.
And I didn't know a lot about Greek life here in general, and it would have been nice to have been able to have this semester to kind of like see what the different sororities were like and get a better feel.
Assistant Dean of Students Dean Blackburn says the board members hope spring recruitment will solve something else.
They felt like Greek members might be too insulated within the Greek community. They want to make sure that they were doing service broader and connected with other organizations and with campus.
Balderas dropped sorority this year.
Looking back, I really do wish that there would have been a bigger push for like a spring option. Just because I really wasn't ready to decide in that first couple weeks.
Another issue at hand is the minimum GPA requirement. Currently a 2.7, within the next 18 months, houses like this one will have to raise that to meet the university average, a 3.2. If not, they risk losing their national charter. In Chapel Hill, I'm Caitlin Yannick, Carolina Week.
Now, UNC sororities should have no problem meeting the new GPA standards. However, fraternities already have spring rush. They may struggle a little bit more to meet those new requirements.
Students were in Haynes Hall this afternoon looking for a little help getting a job. They were meeting with counselors trying to get some ideas about their resumes. A good resume is supposed to be a big part of getting that first interview. 2 job fairs are scheduled this week on campus, and students were getting that last-minute advice. As many as 100 students stopped by today for help. What will the job market be like when this year's senior class graduates in May? Who knows? What we do know is that for every job opening, there are almost 5 job applications. That's according to the Bureau of Labor Statistics. One bit of good news, the unemployment rate for college grads is only 4.3%. The rate for the overall workforce is more than 9%. Still, there are jobs and there are good jobs. Cassie Scarsha talked with one senior about her plans to land the right one.
Natalie Sink is a senior public relations major from Raleigh. Along with more than 3,800 other seniors at UNC, she worries about getting a job after college. Her method of attack? The internet.
Some of the best advice that I've been given is really just amping up your social media presence because that's going to be such a huge thing for our generation.
Sink picked good advice to listen to. The 2011 Job Fight Social Recruiting Survey says 89% of companies use social media to find their employees.
I'm just trying to sort of create a brand for myself and throw a little bit more of my personality into my job hunt.
Along with using traditional social media sites like Facebook and Twitter, employers are also turning to a networking site called LinkedIn. Assistant Director at UNC Career Services Laura Lane says networking is one of the best things students can do now to prepare for after graduation.
You know, if networking was important before, it's absolutely critical now to help make sure that you get noticed when you apply for jobs.
With all this talk about preparation, students might be wondering just what job fields are actually looking. The Bureau of Labor Statistics reports that accounting, IT, health, education, and public relations are just some fields currently growing and hiring. Sink said she knows it's early in this semester, but she believes that putting off preparations to get noticed by employers might mean that someone else gets noticed first. In Chapel Hill, I'm Cassie Scarsha, Carolina Week.
The university says it doesn't know how graduates from the May 2011 class are faring just yet as to getting a job. More than 50% of May 2010 graduates had full-time employment a year after graduation.
He's got a job, and he's had a lot of them. At UNC, he was the student body president. In 1997, he was on the board of trustees. And 4 years later, he was named the CEO of the Chapel Hill Carborough Chamber of Commerce. But Tuesday evening, he was doing something you might not expect, bartending at the Town Hall Grill. Michael Moore has that story.
Aaron Nelson didn't know what he was getting into when he started the Chamber for Hire program.
We like the dirty jobs guy. Any member can have me come and work with him for a day. It costs absolutely nothing. And from shoveling horse manure to working at the hospital.
But Nelson said it's really just about adapting, shaking things up, if you will.
Times are changing. What people wanted from us in 2002 or what they want in 2007 or what they want today are very different. And so we try to be a nimble and flexible organization.
Nelson started the Chamber for Hire program 3 years ago, and there's no denying it's been a learning process.
The things that I learn when I'm working at those businesses remind me why we do what we do.
And even though pouring drinks is fun for a night, Nelson's real goal is getting to know the businesses and the community. But restaurant manager Ryan Perkins says if he could have it his way, Nelson would be back behind the bar again soon.
I may have to do a guest spotlight every few months, get him back behind there. He looks pretty good.
Nelson, however, isn't content with one good performance. He still plans to work for 9 more chamber businesses during the next 2 months. In Chapel Hill, I'm Michael Moore, Carolina Week.
A new computer policy on campus will now send you straight to an administrator's office. The Computer Cops, or Information Technology Services, ITS, has implemented a new software program that forces you to uninstall peer-to-peer file sharing software like LimeWire when on the UNC network. If you still want to risk using the software, you accept full responsibility, and if caught doing illegal activity, you'll go straight to administrators. In the past, you received a warning after the first offense, then met with administrators after the second.
President Obama is no stranger to the Triangle, and he's making yet another visit. He'll be in the area Wednesday to talk about his new jobs plan. The president visited the state in June to talk at Cree, the Durham-based LED lighting company. This visit comes at a time when his approval rating has dropped to 43%. North Carolina is expected to be a key battleground state next year. It's going to get a lot colder, We've got details next in weather.
And candles were burning in the pit Sunday night as the university remembers. Those stories coming up.
Listen to the Uncle Johannes. Eisenbahns make you grow up smart and successful so you can be a doctor, lawyer, handsome, genius composer. Like me.
Feed your kids the arts. Visit AmericansForTheArts.org. Treat your family to Van Gogurt, packed with live and active culture to boost kids' math and reading skills.
It's sure to satisfy your hunger for inspiration.
Feed your kids the arts. For 10 simple ways to learn how, visit AmericansForTheArts.org.
So, April.
Yeah?
You know your charger's still using energy when it's plugged into the wall, right?
Yeah, but that's not my charger. I don't even have a cell phone.
Millions of kids are using their energy wisely. What's your excuse?
Good evening, I'm Suzanne Wilson, and the Carolina Week 5-day forecast for you coming up. So summer is still here. We hit a high of 87 for today, which is definitely a normal summer temperature for the beginning of September, and it looks like towards the end of the week we might have some rain coming back into our forecast. And a big thing here, our first glance of fall towards the end of our 5-day forecast. We're definitely going to have some cooler temperatures coming into the area. So today we had some clear skies today, a few fair weather cumulus clouds that were around the area. And off the coast there are a lot of clouds associated with a stationary front that has moved through and will be moving through overnight, possibly giving the coast a little bit of rain. So here is that low pressure system with that stationary front sitting right over it, and the rain across to the east associated with it. But the big thing is these high pressure systems that are bringing in some dry, warm air, which are making our temperatures more summer-like, but also drying us out. So we're having nice low humidity levels with low dew points, making it a little bit more comfortable for us out there as we're walking around in the afternoon. So tonight, we're going to definitely have some partly cloudy skies, but the big story here is the harvest moon. So we have a full moon right now, and the harvest moon is the moon closest to the first day of fall. And the first day of fall is September 23rd, next Friday. So this moon is definitely giving us bright skies, making our evenings a little bit longer as that sunset is getting earlier and earlier. It's right around 7:29 right now. But with that, so make sure to look up in that sky tonight for that cool full moon and know that it's the harvest moon. And we'll definitely be having temperatures in the low 60s for the evening. So on Tuesday, that low pressure system has moved off the coast, again giving a slight chance for the eastern part of our state seeing some rain, but this high pressure system begins to move closer to us and really start to govern our weather and give us some warm, dry temperatures, as tomorrow we're probably going to see temperatures close to 90, which are definitely signs that summer is still here and fall is not yet here for the next couple of days. But like I said, in the coming days, this cold front will be moving across the state and giving us some cooler temperatures towards the weekend, which are our first sign of seeing fall. So tomorrow, lots of sun in the area, partly cloudy skies, and again, those dew points are going to be in the low 60s. Again, nice and comfortable, making that 90, although it's going to be hot, feel a little less sticky and humid and make it more comfortable for you being outside for our last couple of days of summer. And into the tropics, here is Tropical Storm Maria. It's brewing up in the Atlantic, right near the Caribbean. It has slowed down overnight, has max sustained winds of 50 miles per hour and moving west at 2 miles per hour. It is it has calmed down overnight, but it looks like it will be becoming stronger and taking a path right up towards the East Coast, much like Kacha did last week. And it doesn't look like it's going to be a threat to us, but we will be seeing that in the coming days, and we'll make sure it does not come to us. 76 in Tri-Cities, 89 in Charlotte. And as we look at the East Coast, 90s across the central part of the state, 86 in Wilmington. For that 5-day forecast, 90 on Wednesday with rain for the next couple of days, and then we're going to be seeing low 70s for the weekend. So we're going to have nice temperatures, first glance of fall, so it's really going to be great this weekend.
Boy, I know I'm excited. We've got another home game this weekend, so even more fun with that nice weather.
Can't wait for the cooler temperatures.
Me neither. Well, even after a win, people are still wondering who will be the next football coach at UNC. We've got some speculation coming up next after the break.
Coming home can be hard if you're a veteran of Iraq or Afghanistan. You may feel like you're all alone, but you're not alone. At IAVA.org, your fellow vets are all around you. Join our free online community, get the resources you need, and connect to other vets who know where you're coming from. IAVA.org. We've got your back.
When I was a kid growing up, I actually was bullied so bad I had to leave school in 8th grade and go to another school.
A safe space is a place where nobody judges you, where you're safe from bullying or from anything that you think is bad and that you don't want to go through, or your friends or your family. Every student deserves to have a safe space at school.
We need to put an end to bullying now.
Please visit safespacekit.com. Help us put a safe space kit in every school in America.
Welcome to Carolina Week Sports. I'm Ciara Watkins. The women's soccer team gives up 4 goals for only the second time in the past 30 years, and they lose after leading by 2 for the first time in history. Scoring was not the problem against Texas A&M. The Lady Tar Heels got up quick by putting the ball in the net on 3 corner kicks. Check out this rebound. Here you'll see it by Taylor Ramirez. That put Carolina up 3-1. But the Aggies battled back with this goal, the equalizer, with 12 minutes to go. And the golden goal right here, only 30 seconds into overtime, to give Texas A&M the 4-3 sudden death victory. Now both the men and women's soccer teams entered the weekend ranked number 1, and both teams lost. The men play at home tomorrow night against JMU. For years, UNC has tried to find a football coach that could match the success of its basketball program. Many thought Butch Davis was that guy. Apparently, he wasn't. Reporter Andy Reeves has more on the next potential savior of Carolina football.
Jim Tressel, Urban Meyer, Mike Leach, Rich Rodriguez. These are a few of the big names bouncing around as possible replacements for Butch Davis. But at such a critical juncture in Carolina's football history, what kind of coach do we need?
There's a list of names out there who live in the gray area of NCAA rules and win a lot of games and go to bowls as a result. They would not be good targets under the Tar Heels' current circumstances.
That's not to say winning doesn't matter.
They need to find a guy who can put a winning team out there, and the fans certainly want that too. So you have to find that perfect balance, and that is not an easy thing to do.
Athletic revenues also depend on the success of the major sports. A winning football program is a huge moneymaker for the university. With all these factors in play, who is a viable candidate?
Mark Richt is a popular name being bandied about. If he ends up getting the boot down at Georgia, he's certainly got a reputation as a guy who does things the right way.
Glenn thinks Texas Christian coach Gary Patterson could be a solid option.
He's a guy who, against solid competition, has separated himself from the pack.
Interim coach Everett Withers should also be in the mix if he leads the Heels to a respectable bowl game. But everything may hinge on UNC's next athletics director. With Dick Bedore stepping down, Glenn says the new AD will have the most to say about who will be on the sideline for the Heels in 2012.
Boards of trustees appoint chancellors, and chancellors hire the athletic director, and the athletic director hires the coach. And until UNC has a new athletic director, it's going to be 100% speculation.
But until the new AD begins the search, there's no reason why Tar Heel fans can't do just that. For Carolina Week, I'm Andy Reeves.
Now, Chancellor Holden Thorpe named a 13-member search committee for a new athletics director back in August. The football team is searching for answers of their own after barely escaping Rutgers Saturday. On the Heels' first possession, it's Bryn Renner to Dwight Jones for this 66-yard touchdown reception. That got him fired up. And the Heels weren't about to cool down. Second quarter, here's Giovanni Bernard dancing his way through defenders and taking it for the score of his own. But Carolina let the Scarlet Knights stick around by turning the ball over. There you see one of Renner's 3 interceptions on the day. And there's Eric Highsmith coughing the ball up on the fumble. The Heels somehow overcame their 5 turnovers to beat Rutgers 24-22.
Now, Sierra, the stadium is finally all closed in, but it seemed like there were a lot of empty seats out there on Saturday.
Preston, it definitely did. It looked almost like a quarter empty. You'll have to think with the ACC games starting to come around, the stadium should fill in a little bit.
Well, with Virginia coming up this weekend, hopefully we'll get those seats filled in.
Definitely.
Well, most of us will never forget where we were.
Students took time yesterday to remember the Americans we lost on 9/11. Coming up.
If you have a story idea, call Carolina Week at 919-843-8292 or email us at carolinaweek@unc.edu. If you have questions about this program, write Carolina Week at Campus Box 3365, UNC-CH, Chapel Hill, North Carolina 27599. Be sure to check out Carolina Week and Carolina Connection online at carolinaweek.org.
What if a disaster strikes without warning? What if life as you know it has completely turned on its head? What if everything familiar becomes anything but? Before a disaster turns your family's world upside down, it's up to you to be ready. Get a kit, make a plan, be informed today. Learn how at ready.gov.
I remember how much you said you liked mine.
Oh.
You don't have to be perfect to be a perfect parent. There are thousands of teens in foster care who would love to put up with you.
Where were you on 9/11? What images do you remember from that tragic morning? And what lessons did you take away from the sacrifices made that day? UNC students spent their Sunday evening answering these very questions as they came together to remember. Students gathered Sunday night in the pit to honor and remember. As memories were shared, students held candles in remembrance of those lost and those still fighting. For some, it was a time to be there for others, and for some, it was a time for personal mourning. But in the end, the air was filled with support and hope. As the vigil came to an end, students vowed to never forget that day that changed their generation forever.
The Chapel Hill Fire Department also held a commemoration ceremony yesterday in honor of September 11. Community members from Chapel Hill gathered together to comfort one another and to honor the men and women wearing badges who never had a chance to say goodbye. On the 10th anniversary, they showed their respects, and one message is clear: we will never forget. Well, that does it for this edition of Carolina Week.
Thanks for watching. Good night.